Many consider that the martial art of Aikido is in a crisis. The crisis could be described in different ways: an identity crisis, crisis in its public perception, or a crisis in declining membership. Before going deeper into exploring what brought this crisis about and what could be done to create possible solutions for the presented problems, I feel it is important to also note that while many Aikido dojos may be facing these problems, that is not to say that each and every dojo experiences the same challenges. A lot of these problems are related to cultural situations and, for example, how Aikido dojos are doing in Japan comparing to United States may be very different situations. Having said that, personally being an English-speaking Westerner currently residing and having trained Aikido primarily in Europe, as well as maintaining relationships with Aikidokas across Europe and in America, I would like to focus this video on exploring this situation and the future of Aikido in West in particular. Having trained Aikido for more than a decade and also having the experience of running a professional Aikido dojo for 7 years, while also maintaining close relationships with many Aikidoka across the globe, I've personally experienced firsthand the previously described crisis. At the same time, this crisis is becoming more and more evident by observing what is happening online, with various articles constantly coming out addressing challenges faced by Aikido community and numerous online discussions exploring the subject. I've also been very vocal about the downsides of Aikido online for years myself, but I wanted to make it clear before I dive deeper into the subject that my goal in this video is not to criticize Aikido, but instead to do my best to identify the challenges it is facing and to discuss possible solutions in order to aid it in the process of overcoming this crisis. Having laid down the ground, let's get started. Understanding the crisis. Crisis number 1. Identity crisis. While there's a brilliant article named Aikido's Branding Problem, written by Ron Cicero on Aikido Journal, that I highly recommend reading on this subject, the premise can be expressed quite simply and clearly by presenting this quote: "Jack of all trades, master of none." It could be stated that Aikido is suffering from wanting to be too many things at once. Even myself, having been a long-time Aikido practitioner and professional instructor, when somebody used to ask me what Aikido is, I struggled for a moment pretty much each time. There are so many different interpretations of what Aikido is, that in the end, it is difficult to understand what it exactly is and what you can expect getting out of it. Is it a moving meditation, cultural Japanese practice, a means for conflict resolution, cardio fitness, health practice, personal development practice, practice of self-defense? Surely, someone could claim to teach all of these things altogether, but it is no coincidence that I previously used the phrase "Jack of all trades, master of none." It is generally accepted that if you want to be really good at something, you have to focus on as a narrow field as possible. Following this line of thought, it could be said that the Aikido community is struggling itself with understanding what it actually is, and marketing itself as that. As Ron also explores in his article, there's also the issue of unique selling product, or USP, the golden aspect of marketing of any successful product or practice. In other words, it is the question of what a product or practice offers uniquely that you will not be able to get anywhere else. And here again comes up the challenge that Aikido is facing. Want to learn to wield a Japanese sword? Go to Kendo. Want moving meditation or a health practice? Go to yoga, contemporary dance, or a fitness class. Want self-defense? Go to a solid self-defense course or a martial art which has a trustworthy reputation of effectively teaching it. Want personal development? Go to a coaching expert or a therapy session. I could go on, and as the list gets longer, the problem of Aikido's identity crisis becomes more and more evident. Crisis number 2. A crisis in public perception. Let's do an experiment. Stop the video for a moment, type in Aikido in YouTube search engine, and see what the first 10 top suggestions will be. In my own incognito browser page, my number 5 option is Aikido Master versus Big MMA Fighter, where a Russian gentleman saying he practiced Aikido gets beaten up by another, not very experienced Russian fighter. Number 7 is named Why Your Aikido Will Fail on the Street, created by the Aikido Flow team. Number 10 is my own creation, Aikido vs MMA, video where I performed terribly trying to use my Aikido against a skilled MMA practitioner even after a decade of dedicated Aikido practice. Of course, anyone wanting to defend Aikido's image would make a statement such as, "These videos are all created just for publicity." But whatever the real reasons of the creation of these videos are behind these and many other similar Aikido-related videos, one cannot deny that it shapes the general perception of Aikido's reputation. Any intelligent and observant person would also naturally ask, why are there so many negative opinion-based videos of Aikido compared to other martial arts? Leading to believe that there must be some inherent reason for this phenomena, creating further doubt. Off of YouTube, the case isn't that much better. Aikido is infamous in the circles of martial artists, especially those who practice combat sports-based martial arts. I will not go into detail explaining the reasons for this phenomena on this video, but if you are interested to dig deeper into the subject, I've created a separate video called Why Aikido is Disliked by BJJ and MMA Practitioners. Also, the fact that once the superstar of Aikido, Steven Seagal, who brought great promotion to the martial art and created an image of an invincible martial art back in the day, is now a questionable figure at best, and in many cases, an object of humor, which does not help. Crisis number 3. Declining membership. The aspect of Aikido's declining membership consists of two parts. One part of it is a general loss of popularity and interest, as a result, leading to lesser member attendance. The other part, which is discussed and noticed frequently, is that Aikido's membership base these days primarily consists of either senior members or kids, showing that Aikido is potentially lacking the participation of young adults, who would in turn become the future generation of the practice and would make up a big, essential part of the membership base. While it is difficult to entirely prove this point without clear statistical data, having to mainly refer to stories and observations made by inside and outside people as a source of knowledge, Josh Gold, the current executive editor of Aikido Journal, in his own article, presented an interesting statistical look at this issue by observing the changes of Aikido as a search term in Google Trends, noticing that interest in Aikido has declined on an average of 9.3% per year over the last 5 years, and to make the case even more serious, experienced a total of 86% decline in interest between 2004 and 2017, and it continues to decrease still. I suppose it's needless to say that the same cannot be said about other martial arts, such as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is experiencing the opposite effect. In his article, Josh also continued to take a look at Instagram data, where the user base of the day was predominantly used by those aged 18 to 29. Comparing the hashtag data, it became evident that within the 18 to 29 demographic, Aikido is nearing total irrelevance. Meanwhile, other traditional martial arts such as Judo and Karate have a 7 to 10 times the interest, while BJJ is surpassing Aikido by over 25 times. Solutions. Having briefly described the different aspects of this crisis, and as mentioned in the beginning, I do not intend this video to be a critique of Aikido, but instead a presentation of possible solutions and hopefully an encouragement of a positive debate. Over the last few years, I've spent time not only criticizing and exploring the downsides of Aikido, but also spending a lot of time considering possible solutions and spending time talking with various people who have come up with different answers. In the next chapter, I will do my best to present my own opinion and also offer the insights and valuable perspectives of other individuals invested in this subject. Solution number 1, honesty and clarity. While other solutions that I will present later in this video may be as valuable, if not even more, I would have a difficult time not starting with this one. Potentially because the lack of this solution was one of the main reasons that turned me personally away from Aikido, along with other people that I've been in contact with that also experienced what could be described as a disillusionment. Part of being a high-level professional is the process of constantly taking a look at what you are offering and asking yourself if you're presenting and offering your service or product at the highest level possible. As previously discussed, Aikido suffers from an identity crisis of not being clear of what it actually is offering. But that is only one side of the problem. The other side is the ability to actually offer what is promised, be it moving meditation, self-development, or self-defense. Having been an Aikido instructor myself, early in my Aikido career, I was led to believe that I am capable of teaching all of these fields properly, while in reality, I wasn't, without even knowing it. The solution here is actually quite simple, whilst not easy. Taking an honest look at what is being offered, making a clear definition of where the offer begins and where it ends, and putting all effort to deliver the offer at the best degree possible. Part of my inspiration for this solution comes from an active Aikido instructor, Christopher Hine, who also went through the path of studying BJJ, MMA, and self-defense after he has received his Aikido black belt. We talk in detail about his approach in an interview called Aikido That Makes Sense, but in this video I will do my best to portray his vision in my own words. Christopher Hine puts focus on teaching Aikido as an effective means of self-defense, but he stresses that as, for example, boxing does not include kicking or grappling, neither anyone is expecting it to do so. The gist of it though is that boxing gyms usually do not promote themselves as teaching that either. They simply focus on teaching striking skills really well. The same can be said about many other martial arts and practices. Led by this idea, Christopher teaches Aikido as a means to effectively avoid conflict, de-escalating it, or dealing with its initial phases until the conflict potentially reaches close proximity. When a full grappling situation starts, Hine's idea is that then it is time to employ other skills, such as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. While I love Christopher Hine's approach to Aikido personally, my intention is not to say that everyone has to practice it the same way, nor am I describing the full depth of the entire package that Chris is offering in his approach. But it is by all means a great example of being clear on what is being offered, defining the limits of the practice, and continually striving to do it in an even better way by seeking knowledge not only inside the practice, but outside of it as well, which naturally leads to my next suggested solution. Solution number 2, raising the quality standards of Aikido. Once again, drawing inspiration from my own personal experience and having witnessed Aikido careers of many other individuals, with a great time invested in exploring the subject, I came to a conclusion that part of the Aikido's challenge is not only the so-called identity crisis, but also the quality of delivery of its promises. Let me explain this argument by sharing my personal example. After learning Aikido for 4 years and then spending 3 years as a live-in student, I earned my second degree black belt and was blessed to open my own Aikido school. I was led to believe that I'm ready to teach Aikido as a means of personal development, a form of moving meditation, and even of self-defense. Now, as I look back, possessing the knowledge that I have right now, I realized that I was not ready to teach any of these practices. All I was really capable of was to teach isolated Aikido techniques. I had no solid education in any form of proven methods of personal development, such as, for example, coaching or psychotherapy. While I did do a lot of meditation and was introduced to various classical spiritual forms of meditation, I had no education in science-based and proven methods of meditation such as mindfulness. I was also led to believe that knowing Aikido techniques naturally qualified me as a self-defense instructor, while in truth, I was not taught almost anything of what self-defense is truly about, as for example, security on the street, fear and adrenal responses, personal threat analysis, legal aspects of self-defense, ranges, tools, psychology of conflict, and much more. As in many cases, individuals wanting to prove me wrong would rush to make an argument that it is only my individual experience. But actually, it does not take much effort to take a look at many of Aikido's instructors and to ask the question if they are truly qualified to teach what is being promised as well. As you will most likely soon witness, the same problem of lack of education in promised fields can be observed in many Aikido instructors. That is not to say that other practices do not experience the same challenge, but generally, most martial arts don't face the same problem to the same degree. Take, for example, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It mainly promotes itself as what it basically is, an effective means of grappling, or MMA, as it markets itself as an effective means to teach fighting, which it does deliver. If these practices claim to teach something much more than that, I would then ask the same question. But in most cases, what is offered is provided. This is where I come back to my offered solution, a raise in quality standards of Aikido instructors, making sure that what is promised is delivered in the highest quality and clear fashion. If an Aikido instructor that promises to teach self-defense would be qualified and educated in the best and most respectable practices of self-defense, or an instructor who would promise self-development would have a quality degree in coaching or psychotherapy, and would integrate these subjects into his Aikido teaching methods, would there really still be an issue with reputation? If what is promised would be delivered in the highest level, would it truly be difficult to maintain and gain members? Solution number 3. Appreciate and offer Aikido for what it is. As presented in this video, one of the main challenges of Aikido is its attempt to be many things at once, which leads to marketing problems and other challenges, such as the just described level of qualification in the instructor to deliver the promise. Yet another aspect which is valuable to consider is to offer and appreciate Aikido for what it already is, without making any grand promises. For example, a Japanese, martial arts-inspired, fun and energetic practice. No claims to self-defense, no grand claims of personal development, apart from what the member gains naturally themselves, or even without deep philosophical ideas. It may sound discouraging at first, but at the beginning of this video I mentioned the difference between Aikido in Japan and in the States. Now granted, I have not been to Japan myself, But from having numerous conversations with people who practice Aikido there, the way Aikido is taught in Japan appears to be very different. Apparently, Aikido senseis don't speak much at all, neither discussing Aikido as a means of self-defense, nor explaining Aikido's philosophy. Practice is mainly done in silence, with vigorous energy and a positive atmosphere. That's it. And apparently, Aikido in Japan is not suffering the same crisis as it does in the West. Maybe because of the difference in culture, but just maybe because it is not creating the same elements required to create the crisis that Aikido is facing here in the West. A similar example could be made out of Tai Chi or Kendo. There are usually no extraordinary claims made by these practices, such as its martial art capacity, or promises made of enlightenment. And there they are, enjoying their own place in the world. As with everything, it is easier said than done, but I sincerely hope that this video will encourage additional thoughts, brainstorming, and a constructive debate on how Aikido could potentially evolve to face the current crisis. What do you think the solution could be for Aikido? Do you agree with the assessment of the crisis made in this video? Do you agree with the offered solutions? Let me know in the comments. Also, subscribe to the Martial Arts Journey YouTube channel for more critical thinking based videos on martial arts and self-defense. This was Rokas, and I'll see you on the virtual mat again soon.